Hello, I'm Reynardo Caden, a Partner Solutions Architect at GitLab, and I'm here to show you a demo on training and deploying AI models using GitLab and Vertex AI. For this demo, we will be using a credit card fraud detector application written in Python, and this will be deployed and trained on Vertex AI. Some prerequisites. First would be a Google Cloud project. Second would be a service account on Google Cloud with these permissions: the AI platform admin, service account user, storage admin, storage object admin, and Vertex AI administrator. And finally, you need your GitLab project where you will have your CI/CD and source code hosted. The steps. Here are the high-level steps for this demo. First would be to set up the Google credentials on GitLab. Second would be to upload a data set on Vertex AI, and this will be hosted on Google Cloud Storage. Third is to plan and write the CI/CD pipeline that will be hosted on GitLab. Fourth would be to train the model. This will be a custom training via Python script that will be executed and then deployed onto Google Cloud's Vertex AI. And finally, we will test this endpoint once it's deployed onto Google Cloud. Now onto the demo. The first step is to set up the service account of your Google credentials into your GitLab project. To do that, you go to Settings, go to CI/CD, and enter the credentials JSON value in the environment variables. And you should encode this using base64 to obfuscate that JSON value of the service account. So I put them right here as a variable called Google credentials. And as you can see, it's obfuscated and encoded on base64. So that is the first step. You've set up the GitLab project to be able to communicate with your Google Cloud project. The next step is to upload your dataset to Vertex AI in Google Cloud. So in this screen, you see that I've already completed and uploaded my current dataset, but the steps on doing that is simply just to create the dataset using the button here at the top. You'll be asked to enter the name, but since we're using a credit card fraud detector using tabular data from transactions happened a decade ago, you should select the appropriate type, like tabular data meant for regression or classification, because we are going to predict whether a transaction is fraudulent or not. So classification would be the model. Once you hit create, you'll be asked where to source the that data. So let's proceed here. So either you can upload it, select from cloud storage if you've already made that available, or use BigQuery. So previously I had uploaded this from my local computer, but you could also use something from cloud storage. You just need to enter the location. Okay, next step is to head back to the GitLab project and plan and write the CI/CD pipeline. So GitLab is very important in this step because this is where the deployment and training will be kicked off and run by your runners in your project. Now let's look at the pipeline. So I'll zoom in a bit. So there are three stages for this pipeline. So the first stage is the test stage, where I've included a great deal of the templates used for scanning and security. Again, this is to ensure code quality with the training Python code and deployment Python code that we'll be using. So this is key to ensure that the quality and security is there. The next stage would be the training stage, where the application will be the Python code that will train the model will be executed using Python. Now it's very straightforward. It's just a simple installation of the prerequisite libraries in Python in the container, and that a new artifact will be generated called model.pickle, and that will be uploaded to Vertex AI. Once that model is uploaded and included on the model registry. It's then ready now for deployment via an endpoint, and that will be executed by this last stage. For this stage, we'll be using a specific container for deep learning that Google had provided, and it's geared for the library that you'll be using, which is scikit-learn. So these are the stages. We'll be testing, training, and deploying. Now let's take a quick look at the code that will train the model on Vertex AI. I'm not going to go very detailed on this. You can take a look at the code at the code repo, which is in the link that I'll be providing. But what essentially will happen is the code will connect to Google Cloud using the credentials that we had entered at the beginning. The data that we had uploaded to Vertex AI will be loaded by the script, and the pre-processing and training will happen in here. Once that's finished, a model file will be generated and will be uploaded to Google Cloud Storage. So that will be used to create the endpoint in the next stage. The final piece of code that will be executed in this demo application is a deployment script in Python. It's very straightforward. So what will happen is it'll connect to the Google Cloud project using the credentials I had created earlier. And from there, it'll programmatically create an endpoint and deploy the model. And so once that's done, people can test and try out the API and make some requests and send JSON payloads to test predictions of the model. So here's what the pipeline looks like once the execution is done. All those 3 stages I had described were completed: the test, train, and deploy. And what this means is that we should expect an endpoint deployed on Vertex AI based on the model that we had trained using the training, custom training on Python. Heading to Vertex AI, we see that the model that I had defined earlier is now in here and added to the model registry. And when I click here, at the name, more details are shown, and I can see that the model has been deployed to an endpoint defined in the deployment script earlier. Now, when I click to the version ID, I'm able to test this endpoint using a feature at Vertex AI without the use of Postman or some other external tool. I plug in the JSON request here to test, click predict, and this is the expected response where the value of 0 or 1 will be shown here based on how the model predicts whether it's a fraudulent transaction or not. So there you have it. We saw how GitLab can help teams train and deploy AI models to Vertex AI very securely and efficiently using its best-in-class CI/CD and DevSecOps features.